Iran's Revolutionary Guard has confirmed it targeted a US airbase in Jordan. The attacks come after a 5-day pause in hostilities. Video shared online shows interceptions in the skies above Jordan. US Central Command says all the missiles were successfully intercepted. Well, the US and Saudi Arabia say they've carried out coordinated strikes against Iranian-backed groups in Iraq. In a social media post, US Central Command said precision strikes were carried out against Iran-aligned groups in Iraq, which the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps directed to attack US forces and Saudi energy infrastructure. US and Saudi fighter aircraft struck multiple logistics and weapon sites across eastern Iraq in a strong response to over 30 IRGC-directed aerial drone attacks in the last 24 hours. Well, in a moment, we'll be live with Victoria Gatenby in Doha. But first to Resul Serdar in the Iranian capital, Tehran. Resul, so the IRGC has now released a statement. Does that statement help to clear up the timeline of the attacks in both Iraq and Jordan?
Well, there is no clarification regarding the timeline of the events and also the sequences of the events here. So we have two statements being released in recent hours by IRGC. And the first one, it says, in response to the aggressive actions of the U.S. Army, so the brave fighters of the IRGC Aerospace Force targeted the U.S. Air Base and Central Command headquarters in Jordan with several ballistic missiles. So what you see is just a confirmation of Iranian attacks on a U.S. Air Base in Jordan. However, here, when it says in response to the aggressive actions of the U.S. Army, it's not clear whether that is specifically referring to the U.S.-Saudi attacks on the Iraqi groups that are linked with Iran or not. So it's not clear whether that happens. Iranian strikes was before the U.S.-Saudi joint operations or after. If it is, of course, before that, so it's going to be regarded as preemptive. But if it's after that, so Iranians are going to label that as retaliatory. So, of course, that was not the only important developments of the night. Then in the second statement released by the IRGC, so it says that 3 violating oil tankers that ignored our warnings have been targeted and stopped. So what we're now seeing is 2 major escalations. The first one, an Iranian attack on a U.S. base, and also Iranian IRGC are targeting 3 ships in the Strait of Hormuz.
Yeah, Resul, meanwhile, there have been ongoing talks in the background over the Strait of Hormuz. Have the Iranians shown any signs they're willing to compromise at all?
Not a significant change in Iran's position regarding the Strait of Hormuz. So the Omani delegation was in Tehran on Friday and Saturday. Omani delegations, they came up with a proposal, and it was the proposal was simply suggesting a regional consortium to manage the Strait of Hormuz and the maritime traffic through that. And also Omanis have suggested a 50-50 arrangements. So half of the Strait of Hormuz to be under Iranian control and the other half to be with the Omanis. However, Iranians have insisted that the mechanism to manage the Strait of Hormuz should be exclusively between Muscat and Tehran. And the reason that Tehran is insisting on that, because it's only Iran and Oman that are the littoral states, and Iran believes that only the littoral states should have the exclusive rights. Also, Iranians are insisting that the 50%, one of the inbound road, to be completely under Iranian control, and also Iran to have partial control on the outbound road as well. So practically, that means Iranian control on all of the Strait of Hormuz.
Resul Serdar, live for us in Tehran. Resul, thank you. Over to Victoria Gatenby. She's live here in Doha. Victoria, so what sort of reaction has there been to these attacks in Jordan and Saudi Arabia?
Well, in the last few minutes, we've had a statement from the Ministry of Defense in Jordan. It's confirmed that it has intercepted and destroyed 5 missiles launched from Iran into its airspace this morning. It has condemned that attack and said it will continue to defend its sovereignty and the safety of its people. Now, that comes after the IRGC has released a statement saying that it launched ballistic missiles at a US airbase and command center in Jordan. Jordan overnight. This attack has been confirmed by CENTCOM, but we have very few details apart from that. The UAE strongly condemning that attack. And in Saudi Arabia, Saudi's Foreign Ministry and Ministry of Defense has confirmed that it has carried out strikes against an Iran-backed group in Iraq. It says those were carried out in coordination with US Central Command, and that they were in response to drone attacks in its eastern province, where it has a lot of oil-producing facilities. Now, those oil-producing facilities have been targeted throughout this war since its start in February, part of Iran's strategy to disrupt global energy supplies and push up the oil price with the aim of trying to put pressure on US President Donald Trump. Saudi Arabia's foreign ministry said this attack came at a bad time because it was trying to coordinate efforts to de-escalate tensions in the area.
Victoria Gatenby here in Doha. Victoria, thank you.